What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, as always, presented by our friends at Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. If you haven't already, download the Pure Options app for 20% off your next purchase. You can enable push notifications and hear about exclusive deals and promotions. Very cool thing, right at your fingertips. Just go to pureoptions.com as well. Sign up for their Pure Perks loyalty program. Great way to have your Pure Options experience tailored just for you. And our Wednesday night show, brought to you by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar that's just north of Frandor on the East Lansing border. Unbelievable place to watch football. If you're not going to be able to go to Ann Arbor and go to the game, and you're going to want to be among friends and other people who care about the Michigan State game, great place to be. Front 43 and Cask & Company this Saturday night. You can park your butt there all day and watch college football. Watch the NFL games. Enjoy the terrific beers and drink selections on tap and the wonderful menu they have. CaskandCompany.com. Check it out. You can make a reservation there as well. Jason, how you doing, brother?
I'm not talking about Michigan.
Riding right up into my rectum. And
we said, would somebody please guard somebody?
What's up, buddy? What's going on, man?
I'm good.
How are you?
I'm great.
By the way, I love our listeners for multiple reasons. But I walk in tonight, and there's a giant box sitting there waiting for me as I walked in. And it said Spotlight Studios, courtesy of Jason Nick. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? Gorham, not Gotham Volleyball Dad, sent some treats from Maine for Treese's Snack Gang. If you remember, Treese, my wife, she does this thing where she got some like food from Canada after she had surgery. So she started doing it with her little thing where she was sending Michigan things elsewhere. So thank you, Gorham, not Gotham Volleyball Dad. We got some like Moxie soda that has like 62 grams of sugar in it for 20 ounces here.
It would kill you right now if you drank that.
If I didn't have any insulin, this would definitely send me for. It would not be a fun show. And we got like Galaxy Salsa. It's just thank you so much.
Very cool.
It's going to be fun here.
Usually when we get boxes, it's Anthrax. So that's a nice change of.
Wait for it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Anthrax joke.
Sorry.
Timely.
Yeah. What is this?
The last someone got fucking anthrax in them.
2007 here? What are we doing?
07?
Earlier than that? I don't know.
Jesus. Anyway, thank you, Gorham Softball Dad.
Maybe.
By the way, your questions move up into the ranks, and and you'll get a gift card, I'm sure, at some point. So,
yeah, well done.
By the way, have you ever had an MRI?
No.
I just got my results back, my shoulder. But Friday, I had one. I had to drive all the way to Flint. Thanks, insurance. It's great. Like, as I was going into the machine, because you're like a bigger guy. Like, you're a bigger guy like me, right? Like, I'm 6'2", 230 or whatever. And she asked me, as she was putting me in this thing, like, she's like, are you claustrophobic? As she hit the button to send me into this thing. And I was like,
it's too late.
I'm like, well, it was tight. What are you supposed to say? Yeah. Like, yeah. And they give you the panic thing in your palm. And I'm like, but I did, like, she goes, are you claustrophobic? And I'm like, well, yeah. Like, I mean, I don't like being in this tight ass spot. I'm not a psychopath. Like, but I had to like mentally like close my eyes and kind of do some breathing things because it was a lot tighter than normal. But anyway, tore my rotator.
That's what I was going to ask.
Small tear.
What are the results? What do you have to do? Anything? Is there anything?
The doctor asked me if I had worked construction for 30 years. He could not believe my shoulder was in this. Like, it's not bad enough to where it's like one of those full fatty tears to where it's bad, but I guess I can still play golf. I can keep doing my stretching, but I have to see a specialist now. So it goes to another.
You just told them you've been running from strip club bouncers for 30 years, and that's really where that came from.
Sleeping on weird couches and shit, drunk as shit. Yeah, Doc, you have no idea what these bones have seen in years past. Definitely, I have seen construction, but definitely not as much as I should have.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah. But anyway, it just made me laugh. These MRI machines, they ask you as soon as you, like, you just, I don't know. Are you going to give me a Valium if I say yeah? Like,
I've never been in one yet. I've done a thing where they do like they check your heart for like calcification and stuff like that, but that wasn't the full MRI machine. Was that
in a small tube?
I don't even remember. I'm not claustrophobic on that stuff, so I would be okay.
I'm not either, but I'm saying when you all of a sudden wake up and there's like, it was on top of my other shoulder, so it was like, there's a point in my stupid brain where I'm like, what happens if all of a sudden I get stuck in here forever, But you can get by that, but
yeah,
I guess. Anyway,
well,
are we going to talk sports, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I think we have a fun show. We're going to have Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic join us. Nick is probably my favorite person to talk football with, and he's great Lions, great Michigan State guy, and just gets the sport and will understand these rosters. And I think we'll have
He crushes tape.
He did, yes, he crushes tape.
He really does. He's a good follow on Twitter.
Yep. So we will talk both Michigan State, Michigan, and the Lions with him in a little bit. We're gonna first pick this week's games with Harry, and he has some picks he really likes. We'll do the Michigan State game as well, and where our heads are on that. It's interesting talking to these guys about this game, these Michigan State players. It really struck me this week, Jason, how many of the guys who are the veteran players who've been around the program have been through the ringer with this rivalry. Like talking to Cal Halliday today. This guy played in the 2021 game. Like it's the highest of highs, one of the great games in Michigan State football history you're part of. D'Antonio at the end of the game watching Mel Tucker's program celebrate like a proud papa. The Kenneth Walker game, like people will remember that forever. Whatever they think of the Mel Tucker era.
That was like 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Wow.
Right? The guys who were freshmen, right? Chuck Brantley, game-clinching one-handed interception, right? These guys. And then some of them went through the tunnel fight. Angelo Gross is still on the team. He was suspended for being part of that in 2022. So they went through that whole thing. Last year, you go through the humiliation of 49-0. And then you're back this year. There's another game. Like it is just a high-emotion game. And it was funny because when Jonathan Smith was talking on Monday about explaining this rivalry to people, I just kept picturing him explaining the Paul Bunyan Trophy to the 61 guys who had never played. And there's, Cal and Angelo and Chuck Brantley just like itching, like, oh my God, we know this. We've been through it.
But isn't that a tricky thing for Jonathan Smith to have to go through, kind of though? Because it's not really, you're not born and bred into it.
100%.
Right?
No, I think he's lucky that he's got people like Demetrius Martin, who came over from Oregon but played, and obviously Courtney Hawkins, who's played in it. And then you have a lot of guys who have played in it, and they can speak to, because it does, guys who played in rivalries get this, but the players will tell you, and they've told me this, for the decade I've been covering the team or more, that the hits are just different. The intensity is different, and you have to kind of be out there to feel it. And that's what, it's not the only rivalry that's like that. But it's I would venture a guess among rivalries it's in the upper tier of them. I'm not saying Oregon State wasn't that. I'm not saying Jonathan Smith doesn't get it. He also doesn't strike me yet as the guy, and maybe he'll be this a little bit more when something happens in the game. But like D'Antonio was quicker to turn surly. He was happier to react with "it'll never be over," like that sort of dramatic read. After being called little brother, he was happy to say it's not. It's not the coach, it's the program, it's who they, he became very good at those quips. And then he had the team to back it up. Jonathan Smith doesn't strike me as that person. I also don't think, like, Sharon Moore is a new coach. Those guys, he's not a Michigan
I tell you
man.
what, I could have Michigan fan Jordan, everybody's favorite Michigan fan Jordan, text Jonathan Smith, and in about 5 minutes, I think he would get, like, really, like, heated into the rivalry. That's all it takes, I think.
I think part of it, too, right now, it's become a really even game. Now, lots of highs and lows, but I was looking at this. I'm going to do a column on this week. It could go either way. This is the ultimate.
It's a classic. It could go either way, bull.
It's the ultimate it could go either way game. In the last 20 years, let's not do anything convenient where, like, let's start with Michigan State's first win in 2008, and then you do the math.
Break it down.
That's bullshit. Let's just go 20 years. Or you can go 25 years. 25 years, Michigan leads 13-12. Last 20 years, it's 10-10, right? Last 20 years, 5 double-digit wins by Michigan, 5 by MSU. Michigan, if you go back 25 years, has had a 6-game winning streak. MSU won 7 of 8. They're 2-2 in the last 4, despite the ride Michigan's been. It has become, in the modern times, in 2000, a very, very even rivalry. And this feels like another iteration of it because you have 2 new coaches. Michigan's obviously been to the mountaintop just a year ago. But you've had a lot going on between the 2 programs in recent years, nonetheless. And now you get these 2 coaches, and I've said for a while that I think it would be good if the temperature was brought down, rather. And I think Jonathan Smith and Sharon Moore, to an extent, will do that, but you just don't know what's going to happen around them that will keep this game, something always happens. Somebody says something. But I don't think Sherrone Moore is unlikely to, like Jim Harbaugh 2 years ago saying there should be charges brought against the MSU players, just added a little to that. I just don't see him doing that. I don't know. Maybe
just let it come to you, though.
Something exactly.
You can't search for it. It's like my old man used to say. It's the only good advice he'd say. Do not go to a bar looking for a fight. You'll get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
let it come to you.
The fight will come to you in this game at some point for these guys. And the thing will, if you lose, and you lose enough, it'll come from your own fan base. Both these guys know that. I mean, this game, especially for Jonathan Smith, will largely define, who he is and is MSU's coach, as it did for D'Antonio and has for.
So have you been going on a lot of podcasts then? Have people been asking you?
I haven't. I don't know. I don't think people like me anymore. I think they're sick of me.
Well, I can understand that.
I did. I think I did.
They see your Twitter.
Q&A. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to talk to me. I got asked a couple weeks ago.
I disagree. I think you're a great guest for a podcast. You get people going. You have long-winded answers. I mean,
I fill time.
Well, yeah. Like, why wouldn't you want Couch on? Right?
I always tell the story when I was doing Lansing Community College men's and women's basketball games.
We still need those tapes.
We
need to dig a little deeper than
the women's coach at the time, the late Irvin Brunson. We had 45 minutes to kill between the women's and men's game. My buddy Larry Marasco and I in Muskegon, and there was no engineer back in the studio, so we were just filling it straight time. Ugh. Irvin Brunson comes on for an interview, 3 questions, 25 minutes. He talked for 25 minutes on 3 questions. We're like, great, we got all the way through.
Hell yes.
It was the
You want to
absolute.
expound on that answer? Fantastic.
Yeah, let's dig into this first game here a little bit more, Irvin. Thank you so much. There's a couple other things to get into before we get to Harry here. Lions.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Yeah.
Jameson Williams, what are you thinking?
PED, right? I mean, what is the 2-game suspension? Have we heard like what the PED was? Was it like an Adderall or something? I mean, come on. Why can't we tell everything, we hear everything about these players, but then you get suspended for 2 games, and is he going to...
It can't be that serious if it's 2 games. It really can't be.
2 games is pretty fucking serious. I mean, to me, we just have to figure out like what kind of team we're going to be, though. Like, how many more chances does this guy have?
A lot.
I mean,
he's really good.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he that good?
He's going to be really good.
Is he Calvin Johnson level good? Can he string together? I understand he's been, but seriously, are we going to be pigeonholed by JMO every time we have to worry about what he's going to do and off the field shit? I don't.
You want a hot counter take?
Sure.
In the salary cap era, you want this. You want anything that potentially makes him a little bit less expensive in a couple years, because then you have a better chance of keeping him.
But he does test your patience. I understand that some of these wide receivers and these guys are gonna have to. You're gonna have to have a little patience with. But I'm saying if he keeps smacking you in the face, is he a guy anyway? You have him under contract for 2 more years, right? So you don't have to really worry about that, or we're not talking about cutting the guy or anything like that. But I mean, how many more times does he has to disappoint, right? Like, I mean, I'm all for second, third chances here, but if you're just going to keep slapping us in the face, I don't want to be that franchise that just puts up with someone's shit.
Would you appeal?
Because they're a great player.
So you missed the Titans game and then you missed the Packers game if he sits out the 2. The Packers game is not a good one to miss, but do you just take it now or do you appeal or what? I mean, I guess he knows.
It depends. I need to know what it is. I mean, if it's appealable, then absolutely, why not? But if you're going to miss all right, let's get it out of the way now. Tennessee and Green Bay.
I don't know. Jaguars,
beat Minnesota
Colts later. I don't know.
What did he do against the Vikings though? Did he do anything against the Vikings? We came back, won that game. Like, I think we can win without JMO, but it's just more of I just don't want all of a sudden we're just sitting around and letting some players do these things because we're soft and we're just letting it happen. So that's all I mean.
When you're fast, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of fast guys. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a great player, but he's not a guy that I'm going to sit there and keep putting up with his shit. Like, okay, after this, if he gets another 4 or 6 game suspension, then what?
We just don't know what happened yet, though. That's the thing.
But still, he got suspended for gambling. It sounds like if this is 2 games, it's something stupid. So these things that are stupid they're still a big deal to me. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about cutting him or anything like that. But after the season, we kind of have to go like, JMO, what is it that you want to do here? Like,
well, I'll be curious to see what Nick says about this. Let's revisit this with Baumgardner here in a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the great Harry Gagnon will pick this week's games, including Michigan, Michigan State. Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow eighth with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our Wednesday night show brought to you by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen Bar. It is time now for the great Harry Gagnon from The Ringer, from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, from BetOnline.com. Harry, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everything?
Great. You keep making people money, and
By
happy.
the way, Harry, I have to ask here, for your video that you put out 7 hours ago for Bet Online, what are you filming this on? Like, is there like a?
You know what? I gotta get a new phone.
Is there Vaseline on the?
It's come to that where I gotta get a new phone. I don't know what I'm doing. It's just my wife's phone is. She refuses to get an iPhone, so it sending it to my producer in L.A. He's got an iPhone, so that just doesn't work right. It's like I'm living in the late 80s. It's really, I know it's bad, Jay. It's bad.
If we're keeping score at home, who are you blaming this on? Is it your wife? Your wife, right?
My wife.
Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, I know I was doing really good until last week, guys. But boy, I go against the Chiefs, and it just goes against me again. I can't recall seeing San Francisco look so bad at home. Can you guys?
No, it wasn't that bad. Your overall record's been really good. Even though it just jumped out a 3-0 lead, I didn't feel good at all about it. Didn't feel good. No, it's the NFL. The NFL is weird right now too. We're getting to the point too.
Oh, just right now.
Well, I mean, it's always unpredictable, but there are some teams that are becoming predictably bad too, and so I'm getting. Like, the lines are getting really big on some of these teams, like the Titans who play the Lions this week. Like, we're seeing plus 11. We're seeing double-digit lines more often, and there are lines up in that realm. And I mean, I think they're scared of teasers, or I don't know why we're seeing that. But
and doesn't it feel like you see 11? You see 11 with the Lions at home against the Titans, and correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it feel like? And no need to feel, you guys can feel as cocky as you want about being Lions fans and everything, but doesn't it seem like 11? Just like we'll have that. We'll have that with we'll be up 21 with 5 minutes gone in the second quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also the Lion fan in me that we blew 2 11-point leads last weekend. Like, I don't know. I'm always ready for the other shoe to drop. That's why I don't like betting on Lions games. Period.
Understood.
But,
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
still the Titans. Ugh.
Yeah. I know. No. There's there are a few teams that you start to trust that are going to lose, even though in the NFL that's dangerous. All right. Let's start with the college games here. Let's go through Washington plus 6.5 at Indiana. Indiana missing their starting quarterback. Backup's pretty experienced. Supposed to be okay. I'm getting to the point where I trust Indiana. Don't love the O'Rourke injury with the quarterback, but I think they're better than Washington, and they're just thumping people. And until I see otherwise, right now I'm on the Hoosiers. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I'm throwing out Washington's loss versus Iowa because we all know Kirk Ferentz is a scam artist, Harry. Big bye week for the Huskies after losing 2 out of the last 3. I got to say, I like their defense. Give me the 6.5. What do you got here?
Yeah, last week I was, I was on Nebraska. It just got steamrolled by Indiana, but no Rourke. And Washington has played better than I thought they would so far this season overall. Jackson has been okay. 3 touchdowns, no picks, has some experience for the Hoosiers. But I'm with you, Jay. I'm going to take the 6.5 here. I think it's close.
Boy, yeah, I keep saying I'm just done. I've picked against Indiana a couple times and got my
understandable.
Got my ass beat in here at this point. All right, Illinois plus 21.5 at Oregon. This I love that there's this half-point little hook at 21 here just to try to scare people off of Oregon. Oregon is substantially better than Illinois. As long as they're dialed in, I think this number is probably about right. But just because they put that hook on, just to tell me not to do it, I'm going to do it. Give me Oregon. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, but you've been on Illinois a lot this year so far.
Successfully, too.
I understand that. I don't get the disrespect. Believe me, I love to shit on Brett Bielema whenever I can here, but I just need Oregon to cover this spread to show me, to give them some respect. I mean, yeah, you beat Ohio State at home because Will Howard's a Ford Taurus. So show me whatever. I don't know, but give me this 21 and a hook, and I kind of like it. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon, last Friday – shut out Purdue, big deal. Dylan Gabriel, not a great game, had a pick. I don't know, 21.5 here. I know they're home. They're unstoppable at home. They don't lose at home. But 21.5 seems like a big number against this Illinois team coming off. I mean, I know it's we're looking, or as the season progresses, we're seeing how bad this Michigan team really is. But still was a good win for Illinois overall on the resume. I don't know. I think maybe 21.5 is a bit much here. I'll take the Illini with that number.
All right, Penn State minus 6.5 at Wisconsin. I like the Badgers here. I like the way they're playing. They're at home. Penn State is, I'm not going to trust the James Franklin team here. And I think Wisconsin's found a little something. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line here. I think Penn State's good, but I think the Badgers are interesting in this spot. I think this is their chance to show that they've turned a corner. Maybe I'm just a moron. Jason, where are you?
I like doing math during the weekdays, and PSU has only covered twice so far this season. Wisconsin D has only given up 16 points in the last 3 games, Harry, and I hate James Franklin. Give me Wisconsin and the points. What do you got?
You stole a little of my thunder there, Jay. The 16 points, last 3 games is very intriguing because in about an hour, me, Sal, and boys are recording our second Against All Odds for the week. And we're covering 3 college games. In my game I'm covering with Sal is this Penn State-Wisconsin game. And, I hear both what you guys are saying about Wisconsin. So what I'm doing actually is I kind of wanted to go under. I wanted to go Wisconsin. I hear what you guys are saying. So what I did, you might like this, Graham. I did a 6-point teaser, and I know a lot of people don't really love doing teasers in college, but I did tease. If I had to pick it, I would take Wisconsin with the points, which our good buddy who's keeping track of our records. I will take the points with the 6.5, but I did for Against All Odds. I am taking Wisconsin up to 12.5, more than 10 here. Taking double digits on the tees, and I'm taking under 53.5 on the tees because, again, like you said, Jason, only 16 points in the last 3 games. Wisconsin's given up. They found the defense, and Penn State, nice game, nice second half. They played against, after whooping USC in the second half, had their bye week. Tyler Warren had an unbelievable game, the tight end, with 17 catches, 224 yards in that game. And, but I am going to say this, though. I already, I'm sure you guys have seen, I'm a little pissed because you guys know I got Penn State to win the national championship. And they've already come out with next week. I hope Penn State's not looking ahead to Ohio State at home in Happy Valley, but I want that game to be a whiteout at night. How is that not a night game?
Yeah.
They're having that game at noon. Come on.
This might be.
Just because it's on Fox, I got to have that at noon. Give me a break.
This is what might destroy Fox finally. I mean, like their big noon scam, and it is a scam.
It's a scam.
And they did it.
No doubt about it.
They did it looking for a way in because they thought ABC had the 3:30 a while ago, and they wouldn't be able to compete. But they also did it because they didn't know how to manage their postseason baseball schedule with college football before they realized that college football trumps postseason baseball in terms of actual ratings and all that.
Right.
It just put baseball on at 10 a.m. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm sorry, we will root for the Tigers, but I'm just saying, like, this game would be so much better in prime time. There are games that are meant for 3:30 or prime time. This is one big noon, big ass, no question.
Right.
All right.
I love when Graham has someone agree with him. Like he got so animated when he heard Harry was like, "Fuck big noon." He's like, "Absolutely." So excited.
I'm with you, Graham. I'm with you, buddy.
I've been saying it for years.
Well, speaking of a game that is at night, and this is the game of most interest around these parts, and the line that was stunning, I think, at the beginning of the week. It is down to, at least for our purposes, and it may still be dropping, but MSU is +4 at Michigan. It was, you found it 7 at the very beginning of the weekend, 6.5 pretty quickly, 5.5 pretty quickly after that, down to 4. At one point, as a look-ahead line a few weeks ago, it was 24.5. I heard some people say, like, it opened at 24.5. It never opened. It was a look-ahead line. It closed, and it's a totally separate line. But anyway, I still think, like, I get that Michigan is home, although that has not mattered a ton in this series of late. But if you're just going, if you take the brands away from it, and you take, and I still think Michigan has a better front seven. They've got some things going for them. But if you look at the way they're playing, the vibes in the program, and the way they played last week coming out of a bye, I don't see how you arrive at this line. And I know why it's there, because people bet Michigan. But I obviously they aren't right now because it's been bet down quite a ways. If I were to set this line, I would set it closer to a pick'em, even with Michigan at home. And I think at +4, still at that point, I think Michigan State is a great value. I think they're good value as a sprinkle on the money line too. It may not happen, but I think there's great value there. There are questions about Michigan State's offensive line. Can they continue to? This is Michigan will play them a little differently. Can they continue to get a push? Can they continue to be an offense that is balanced? I have my doubts, but I have a lot of doubts about Michigan's offense. I think this is going to be low scoring. I think the under, even though it's like 42 or whatever it is, might be the play as well. But if it's close and low scoring, I like the +4 just as much. I think +4 would be the advice here. And I think Michigan fans would quickly agree with you on that. Jason, where are you?
Let me ask you, Graham, if I could promise you just one turnover by Michigan State on Saturday, would you hammer the +4? I'm not talking money line, the +4.
Obviously, I won't because I'm covering the game.
Oh, Jesus.
Kirk
Herbstreit, come on.
You got to say that for people, though.
Nobody gives a shit.
I got guys on Twitter today just railing about my season tickets when I was 15 years old in my fandom. Trust me, I like to remind people that there are some levels of ethics here. But
I'm covering this game, by the way. Who gives a shit?
Anyway. Yes, I would
start calling you Herbie.
If Michigan State were to turn it over once, I would really love the +4.
All right. Then I love Rossi. I love the defense, Harry and Aiden Childs, +4. You heard Graham. I think there's one turnover, but I think they keep it to that. I love this MSU +4. What do you got?
Look, I got to jump on with you guys. You guys were dead right. I was dead wrong last week in that Iowa game. I'm jumping on the Spartans with you guys.
Yeah. It's just, look, anything can happen, but the value. Look, this is what I'm trying to tell people. If you take Michigan State and lose the bet, you are on the right side.
Right.
There are times we make the right bet and lose it. There's nothing wrong. If you pick Michigan here, you're making the wrong bet, even if you win it. I mean, it's that
Vegas
simple.
knows, but I just think they missed it.
Yeah.
You're going, if you take Michigan, you're just going into the game knowing, as Jason would say, knowing that the offense you're taking is ass. You just know it.
Yeah.
You know it.
No quarterback, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just it just doesn't usually get better in seasons like that. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, to the NFL. Vikings -3 at the Rams. This is the Thursday night game. Harry, you like the under in this game besides the game, the part of it we're picking here. Where I am curious is I know the Rams are beat up. Their talks of, I don't even know if they're legitimate talks of trading Stafford, but Cooper Kupp certainly is, there are rumors about Does this wind up being a fire sale? The Vikings, though, are this team. They are the week after they play the Lions, right? And we know how those teams fare. Mm-hmm. So as a 3-point favorite on the road in L.A., and I get that, the fan base, the crowd will be mixed. I'm curious to see what happens. For our purposes, as bad as the Rams are, I'm going to stick with that theory just to see what happens. I'll put a very small amount on it, but because I don't trust it. But right now, I'm going to take the Rams here, Jason, +3. Where are you?
Yeah, especially if you give me a healthy Stafford and McVay. I just think like you stole my thunder about the teams that play like shit after they play the Lions. Short week, Harry. Give me the Rams plus the points. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. I'm taking the Rams. Vikings having to go short week, having to go west. And again, guys, I like the under 48.5. The Vikings gave everything they had in the game versus Detroit. Now, like I said, short week, got to go to the West Coast after the first loss. Maybe come back to earth a little bit after that start they had. I can see them coming out a bit flat on offense, and the Rams offensively still. I'm going to take a shot with them with the points here as a home dog, but still, their offense really isn't clicking either. 23rd in points scored. They haven't had a 100-yard receiver since week 1. They've had just 100-yard rusher all season. Stafford had just 154 yards versus the Raiders of all teams last week, and the Rams offense hasn't scored more than 20 points except for just one time all season. So I'd really like the under 48.5, but we'll take a shot with the Rams with the points.
All right, Titans. +11 at the Lions. It's a lot of fucking points for an NFL game.
Lions, restore the roar.
And I know some people say that the best way to win money in the NFL is to just take, lines like this, take the Titans and hold your nose. That's no fun. And I'm not going to bet against the Lions like that. I probably will stay away from this game generally just because it's. Why? But I don't love the line. I know it's just a lot of points. I should.
What are you scared of though?
11 points is what I'm scared of. So I'm for.
Have you seen this offense though?
For our purposes, I'm going to take the Lions. I just don't think I'll actually bet it. Jason, where are you?
Jared Goff.
What a wuss bag, Harry. I mean, we have one of the best offenses in the league, and the Titans are complete, as I say, ass, and we're at home. I mean, give me a break. If we can't blow out this fucking Titans team, then what are we doing? Give me the Lions. What do you got, Harry?
I couldn't agree with you more, Jay, but hold on a second. I do understand what Graham is saying. I really do, because this could be a game where just, look, I just said the Vikings gave it all they had in that game, but Detroit kind of did too. I mean, that was a fun game. That was an emotional game. That was a division game. Now you're taking on Tennessee. Tennessee just got blown out by Buffalo. I get it all. And yeah, Detroit can win this game going away with ease. Will they? Probably. But will they also be winning by 17 late and give up a touchdown and win by 10? I don't know. Could happen. Could. I don't know. I'll take Detroit. I think you're right, Jay. Maybe they win by 31 and win this going away because their offense is so good. And Tennessee's never in the game, but we've seen stuff like that happen in double-digit spreads like this. But and I hope you're right. I'm taking Detroit, but we've seen crazy stuff happen before where double-digit favorites don't cover for some reason. Something odd happens late. It's been kind of a crazy season so far, but I will take Detroit to cover.
I know why you guys are worried. As gamblers, I understand it, because if all of a sudden the Lions go 3-0 and somehow the Titans get a quick touchdown in the first quarter, you're down 18. You don't want that. It's panic time. I get that as a gambler. But come on, you guys understand the Lions offense.
We'll also remember, just throw in that, DeAndre Hopkins now is gone. By the way, I know I say a lot about Kansas City and that I can't stand them. I mean, I'm going to use the word C blocking. The other 31 teams in the NFL, how about you C block the Chiefs? Anyone ever think about doing that? Anybody? Please, think about doing that. Nobody else could use D-Hop. Nobody else. Come on.
It's terrible to have to spite bet against one of the best teams in the NFL, though.
Oh my God. Unbelievable.
By the way, are we talking about Jared Goff MVP sprinkle before it gets even? Because I saw 8-1, 650 to 1 for MVP for Goff.
Well, by the way, on Against Our Odds the other day, I don't know if you guys listened, but I stuck up for Jared Goff, saying that I said, okay, I was dead wrong. I was wrong again. I talked a lot of smack about San Francisco, and Andy Reid, and coming off its bye, and I don't care. I'm taking San Francisco. Okay, I lost, but still, I don't care. 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions for Mahomes. There is no friggin' way he should still be the favorite for MVP when it's damn well should be Jared Goff.
Harry feels about Kansas City and Andy Reid the way I feel about Big Noon. It's just it's in the AP poll and all these things. It's all.
Yeah, but Big Noon can't really lose you money every week.
That's true. That's
bet
true.
against that.
And guess what? And you know what? And you know what, Graham? They're both scams.
Yeah.
You're right. They're both scams.
All right, Bills -3 at Seahawks. I was surprised by. I know the Bills are really good and they're probably in the certainly top 5 teams in the NFL right now. Seahawks. Kenneth Walker, a little healthier, I think, this week. Impressive down in Atlanta. Bills going across the way. I was a little surprised by this line. I, for a minute, thought I wrote it down here, right? Bills -3 at Seahawks. Give me the home dog here, +3. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, possibly no DK Metcalf and the Seahawks corners with a couple injuries there, Harry. I would love this at 2.5 if I get the Bills -2.5. I guess I'll give the 3. What do you got?
I'm going to give the 3 here. Seattle. I know, look, the injuries do bother me a bit here on Seattle. They have lost 2 in a row at home. Cooper being on Buffalo now means a lot, I think. I think he's going to be huge the rest of the way for the Bills and Josh Allen. And again, I just think, I'm going to take Allen over Smith overall, better quarterback. I know laying 3 on the road, having to travel all the way west is something, but still overall, I just think I'm going to go with the better quarterback here, and that is Josh Allen over Geno Smith.
All right, Sunday night game. Cowboys +4 at the 49ers. I probably did a dumb thing. I threw this earlier when it was 4.5. I threw this in a 10-point teaser with the Lions-Titans when that was a 10.5 to get that down to a half. So I can't even remember the third game at this point. I had so much pure options in me, but it was whatever was happening. In other words, I have this line with the Cowboys +14.5 as part of a 10-point teaser. The Niners are tough because they're still. You could see how this could still all come together. They are so beat up. They have not always played very well. Cowboys aren't very good. This is I wouldn't bet this game, frankly, other than that teaser I stupidly threw in here. Give me the Cowboys +4. I don't feel good about it. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, but if Micah Parsons and Bland play, I mean, I have to wait for those injuries because I think if the Cowboys have to do something, I mean, they have talent. There's talent there, right? And the 49ers, they're kind of in shambles. I mean, I just don't know if the Cowboys aren't going to do it here, and especially with your tease, I think you should hate the Cowboys forever if they don't cover that.
Yeah.
But I just think, give me Cowboys and that 4. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I'm taking the Cowboys as well. San Francisco sucked for me last week. Too many injuries for them. Purdy, 2 of his 3 picks. I don't know where he was throwing the ball. I really don't. But I'm not a fan of Dallas at all. I don't know where their defense is either. They have really no rushing game. But I will take the points here just because the San Francisco injuries just continue to pile up. And I'm going to take more than 4 points here. I'll take the 4.5.
All right, Harry, before we let you go, a few things you like also. Dodgers in 5 at +600. Ohtani, 6 or more hits in the World Series, -160.
Yeah, I like Dodgers in 5. I think that's worth a shot at 6-1. I think overall, I know the pitching hasn't been great, but I just love their lineup. A lot of solid players, obviously, in there. I also like Betts at +750 to be the MVP. I know, when he went down at the beginning parts of the season, he was the MVP in the National League as of then. But then Ohtani took over and just dominated. I think maybe he gets a little revenge here in terms of MVP. He's batting .295 in the playoffs, but he has more doubles, he has more hits, he has more runs scored. His slugging percentage right now in the playoffs is .659. It's 159 points higher than Ohtani right now. So I like maybe bet at 750 to win to win the MVP. And also, like you mentioned, Ohtani, you can get 6 hits or more at minus 160. He's been fantastic. He ended the regular season with a 12-game hitting streak, had 8 hits in the series versus the Mets, has hits in 8 of 11 playoff games, played 46 games versus the AL, had hits in 35 of them, and played the Yankees and had hits in 2 of 3 games versus the Yankees. So, yeah, Ohtani, 6 hits or more in the World Series at minus 160. I think that's pretty good, too, guys.
Is it weird that I find value in that at minus 160?
I know,
6 hits or more for Ohtani?
That's why I wrote. That's why I threw it to you guys, because I'm like, boy, I know 160, but geez, it kind of seems pretty easy. And I don't love the Yankees. Yankees pitching is good, but it's definitely not great.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Shohei. I don't care what pitching you have. I mean, you're still live right there at minus. I mean, it's still.
And Cole's not even. Cole's barely getting 4 strikeouts in his playoff appearances, and he's going 5 innings. So it's not even like he's dominating either for the Yankees. So I mean, he's gonna. I think Ohtani to get 6 hits in the World Series is stealing.
All right, a couple NBA things on your way out here. Nuggets 11-1 for the title, I'm guessing. Sabonis plus 190 to lead the NBA in rebounds, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plus 380 MVP, which I actually like I like that one a lot.
Yeah. I mean, again, look, the Nuggets 11-1. I mean, look, the Nuggets, are led by Jamal Murray and the Joker again. Jokic was an assist away from averaging a triple-double last year. They just re-signed Aaron Gordon, big contract. He's ready to go. Michael Porter returns. They got Trey Alexander from Creighton, who I was a big fan of, if you guys remember, in the draft. So he's going to be a rookie that we're going to see. And they even added Russell Westbrook to help spell Murray from time to time. I like this Nuggets team. Plenty of weapons. I think they get 55 to 57 wins during the regular season. They tied OKC for the best record in the Western Conference last year, with a 1 seed in the Western Conference 2 seasons ago when they won the NBA championship. I think the Nuggets are back at 11-1. SGA to win the MVP at plus 380. You guys remember, last year I think he was kind of robbed from the MVP, and I think the voters might remember that this year as the season comes down to the end. He shot 50% from the field, averaged 30 points per game. 52 games last year. Gilgeous-Alexander he had 30 points or more. 52 games, scored 29 or more in all 6 playoff games against Dallas in the second round of the playoffs. I think they move on into the playoffs further this year, too. I think they might play Denver in the finals again. So to be MVP plus 380. And, I like Sabonis to be the leader in the at plus 190. At plus 190 rebounds leader. He was the leader last year at 13.7 rebounds. He was the leader the year before that as well. 6 straight seasons, he's averaged at least 12 boards. He's coming off his most productive season at 13.7 last year. And at plus 190, I think this is a nice price, guys, considering the next closest is Rudy Gobert at 5-1 and Wemby at plus 550. So you're getting plus 190 for him to get it done again for the 3rd straight season at almost 2-1.
Harry, you are a beautiful, beautiful man. Let's win something this week, and we'll talk next week.
Guys, what are we putting on the Pistons?
I've been burned by them in the last few years. I got a little on the plus. I got the little on the over 25.5 wins. That's as much as I'm going to do with them.
You did?
That's where I'm at.
What did Jason do? Jason do anything?
No. I can't stand the NBA. Well, I'll wait till the playoffs. I could give a shit.
All right.
I mean, I want the Pistons to do well.
They're winning in the first quarter, by the way, guys. They're winning in the first.
Great. There's nothing better than a live update from best.
Can't wait to get home.
Regular season game number 1. What was the price on the over for the 25.5 though, Graham?
It was pretty much even money. That was
even
the
money?
season. Yeah, it was close. Yeah. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, you can have it.
Yeah. Harry, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good weekend, guys. Let's hit something.
You too. That is Harry Gagnon from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal and betonline.com. And, of course, The Ringer. And until last week was on a really good streak with us. Let's take a really quick break. We got Nick Baumgardner coming up next. Michigan State, the Lions should be a good conversation. Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our Wednesday evening show, whatever time of day it is, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our Wednesday evening show brought to you by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar just north of Frandor on the East Lansing border. Very happy now to have our friend Nick Baumgardner, who covers football and the NFL draft for The Athletic, and I think used to cover Michigan State and the Lions, and I think of writers who cover football probably understands the game and what's happening in the trenches as well as anybody that I've ever been around. Nick, thanks for taking some time, man.
What's up, Graham? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a while. Yeah, you good? You doing well?
Yeah, I'm good, man. My job's, like you said it, I just write about football now. So it's pretty not too shabby. Yeah, we do doing some Lions stuff too, so that's been fun too.
Yeah, they don't have you what are you going to do on election night meetings with the Athletic?
No, none of that.
It's a good
we
world.
Don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Good
It's
world to
bad.
be in. Let's start with Michigan State here, and sort of what you're seeing from both teams, and let's go Michigan first.
Yeah.
I guess it obviously quarterback play is a problem. How bad is the rest of it, or is it mostly quarterback play?
Yeah, I think it's mostly quarterback play, but that's impacting, everything, and it's sort of tied to, I think that the bottom line here is I think their planning in the offseason was pretty terrible at the quarterback position. I think Harbaugh's, holding the program hostage there for 3 weeks or whatever it was in January didn't help. They couldn't really do anything with the portal at the time. But then they really didn't try even after Sharon Moore got hired. And, they went into spring ball with three kids who'd never really played as their quarterbacks. And, Jack Tuttle's a seventh year. It's not like he hadn't played because he hadn't been given a chance, right? Davis Warren was a walk-on, and then you have Alex Orji, who clearly wasn't ready, for the job. So basically this comes down to two things. You could either make a decision in February or late January, try to get some more kids in there to try to, ramp up the competition, see if you can get a better quarterback out of it, or you change your offense. Alex Orji is the best athlete here. Tuttle is the best passer probably, but also is a decent athlete. They could have changed the offense to be more of a, quarterback run situation, relying heavy on the run game. Just, don't make any illusions that you're going to throw the ball much. Just be who you kind of are. But, they're still sort of running the J.J. McCarthy offense with a quarterback who can't handle it, more or less. And that's been the biggest problem for them so far.
Yeah, I've covered Michigan State teams like that where you just don't have the quarterback playing, and there's just no way to fix it, really, beyond that. And then it permeates the whole team and affects how everybody's feeling about everything. And the defensively, I mean, you look at they've got some first round, but they've got some NFL guys. They have NFL guys on that defense. They don't seem though as overwhelming as they were a year ago, and they lost a lot of guys, right? But they don't. I don't know when I watch them play, even early in the season against like mid majors, you see some occasional vulnerabilities. What have you seen on the defensive side?
Yeah, so far this has reminded me really both sides of a Brady Hope team, and not the greatest ways. Back when I used to cover those teams, because they would always have a handful of very good defenders. Not a ton. They'd have 5 or 6 really good defensive players, but they would not have enough to roll, too deep. Or in Michigan's case last year, I mean, my goodness, they were running like 10 or 11 guys up front, for crying out loud. It was ridiculous. They don't have the depth that any of these great Michigan defenses of the past have had. They have some of the best top-end talent, that we've seen in some time, but the depth it's just not there, and they can't roll. When Mason Graham or Grant comes out of the game, it's obvious, right? Like, it's sometimes they try to mix and do some different things, and I think they're still trying to sort of be who they were without, sort of the same. So that's been the big theme for me, Graham. It's been, I watched Sharon. We've seen Sharon Moore for 7 games now, and the only thing that we can really say about him, the only thing we've learned about him as a head coach is that, he used to coach for Jim Harbaugh. There's been no stamp on this. We don't really know what, the plan is or isn't, other than trying to recreate something that seems like it's over and not really focused on moving forward at all. And it seems like they're kind of stuck. You know what I mean? Like, they have a lot of talent and they're playing hard, and they have good kids, but they do seem kind of stuck right now.
Michigan State last week surprised me. I wondered where their confidence would be coming out of that Oregon game, and the schedule had set up poorly in that sense. And they get the bye week, and I think it's always a good sign when you play well coming out of a bye week. Obviously Iowa's fairly one-dimensional, but so is their opponent this week. A little bit different rushing scheme. But what stood out to you about Michigan State last week, and what stood out so far this year?
I think so far this year, in general, it's been, and last week too, I suppose, they've had a really good 2 things. A really good attitude just about, play the next play to play. Childs is really good at this. He's made some big mistakes, but then it doesn't seem to just derail him. He comes right back, and he kind of keeps on moving forward. And then defensively, they have been better, against the run, and just in general, really, than I thought they probably would be. I think that's been, so if you can get that out of them, which has been probably a better defensive performance, probably across the board that I thought that we would see. They did lose some guys, up there that are pretty good players, but they also brought, back some guys who could play too. So, they were better defensively so far this year than I thought maybe they would be. And then the cool thing that I thought would happen, I just didn't know how fast it would happen for them, is the impact, with Smith's offense and everything there. I mean, we just talked about a team that made no plan with its quarterback situation. Now you're talking about a Michigan State situation where, he basically came with a quarterback ready to go and a plan of, here's how we're going to do this. This is what the offense is going to look like. We've got guys that have already run it. Like, we're going to hit the ground as fast as we can running, so there's not a lot of lag. And you can see they've made some plays so far this year. They've been able to run the ball a little bit in certain situations. So it's been interesting, and, they're confident. Like you said, Graham, I mean, it's college football, right? You don't have to do much to get confidence, especially if you're in a new situation. And Michigan State is in that. They're in a new situation, positive vibes. Everybody likes the head coach, right? Like, we all know what happened the last couple of years. It feels like they're in a really good headspace for the first time in a pretty good minute, I would say. That's noticeable.
So when you picked, like, I have real doubts about the offensive line for Michigan State going, and it was the best it's been in a long time against Iowa, but it's also been almost a decade since they've been consistently decent up there, and so maybe it's just going to take a long time for me to be a believer. But like, I look at Michigan's front, and I think there could be some problems for MSU, and so maybe it's a low-scoring game because I'm not sure Michigan's offense is going to do a whole lot in this either. But like, how do you see this playing out, and where do you see either team having an advantage?
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing here is it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, I think, in this situation of who can take care of the ball. Because you sort of just said it, like, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of chances being taken here from either side for the reasons that we just talked about. Like, Michigan State, I think, would probably want to, based on, the way that they run offense, but I'm not sure they can afford to do a whole lot of stuff. against Michigan's front because they have, we mentioned the two guys inside. Josiah Stewart is also very good. They have guys that can just wreck the game. You know what I mean? They have enough guys up front that can just sort of thrash you if you give them enough time to do that. So I would see them be a little conservative and then just, like we said, they have played pretty decent, solid defense so far this season. And if they can get some turnovers, Michigan has turned the ball over in pretty much every game they have played this year. If they can get, some stops on fourth down, something like that, and then if Childs can take care of the ball, that's the big thing too. If he avoids sort of the killer mistake, then I think that Michigan State can sort of, play that game and win it in the teens or in the 20s. But either way, I definitely think this is a teens or 20s game because Michigan can't score, and like we just talked about, I don't know how much firepower Michigan State can expect, against the top end of this defense. I think they can score, but I think it'll be a lower scoring game. But I do think it'll be competitive. I don't think this will be anything lopsided. That'd be pretty surprising.
Yeah, I think so too. The under is the way I would tell people to play it right now. I can picture this game. I think I'll pick it around 16-13 or just something in that range. Yeah, I can see that that happening. All right, let's talk a little Lions here. And obviously they're playing offensively as well as we've seen them play. Which is a great sign. The biggest question people have though is the Aiden Hutchinson injury and the impact of that. And we saw the not much pass rush against Minnesota. And is that a way to win 3 playoff games if you don't have an ability to get to a quarterback as you face increasingly good quarterbacks? Are they going to have to do something there? And without them, can they win a Super Bowl?
I definitely think they're going to do something. Yeah, and I've almost thought about in certain cases. Would you really want to maybe do 2 somethings? Would there be multiple guys you could try to go get? I'm not big on the idea of trying to get like a Max Crosby in here. I think financially that would bring complications. Hutchinson hasn't been paid yet. I think that's the one thing people haven't really talked much about in terms of that whole trade thing. So if you bring another guy in with a giant salary and you're talking about redoing him and Hutchinson hasn't been paid yet, I don't know if that would create a situation down the road. So I would maybe avoid something like that. But I wouldn't be against giving up some picks to go get somebody who can play. Like that's, people have talked about, Zadarius Smith from Cleveland. Cam Jordan from New Orleans. There's a guy I look at a lot and say, if you get like a guy like that could play at the level of a Cam Jordan for whatever that costs, that's going to be it's not going to be a first round pick, but it'll be a higher pick, which I wouldn't, whatever. If you can get a guy like that and then maybe one other guy somewhere on a cheaper throwaway deal, a 5th or 6th round pick that can come and be a body, then I think you're doing okay. That's the thing. They don't need another Aiden. I think that's what we've sort of discovered, but they do need another body. They do need somebody who can beat a tackle and win a battle over there. And got a little bit of time here, but I think that the clock is kind of ticking a little bit.
Jared Goff this is maybe the best stretch of football he's played with Detroit. Yeah. How sustainable is this for him? And he's got a lot of good things working around him. We'll see if he's missing Jameson Williams for a couple of weeks, but he's got a lot of good things. How much do you trust him as a quarterback now?
Big time. I think that he has been, one of the coolest, players to watch, really, for me, in my in a long time. Because when they got him, I was firmly on the train. I was joking with Chris Burke here. Chris was firmly on the train that Goff was going to be fine. That Goff, they were going to fix him. There was a chance to save him. Like there was enough there to be salvaged. And I was totally like the opposite. I was like, "There's no. This is not how this works. You don't fix guys, right? Like if they're broken, right?" And that's not what happened. I mean, like he completely turned this thing around, and you could see that confidence building and changing over those last couple of years and into this year. They've played different defenses already so far, and he has just this last one against Flores. A couple of years ago, he would have been a disaster in that game, in that exact situation with all that pressure and all the coverages changing and shifting. And he was just outstanding. It was masterful. I think the marriage between him and Ragnow and Ben Johnson saved his career and really, took it to another level and opened things up that I'm not even sure he quite knew. So the best question right there is the one you asked, is how much do you trust Jared Goff? You trust him a ton. I don't know if there's too many teams in the NFL that trust their quarterback more than the Lions trust Jared Goff right now. Like Mahomes, Lamar, there's not many more than that. Like he's, we can talk about the tiers of talent and all that, but in terms of like coach, coordinator to quarterback trust, like the Lions are about as good as it gets.
getting home field in the playoffs for this Lions team, how important is that for this group, getting that bye if they could be that one seed? I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, I just at this point it feels like this is the peak of their window, and it may extend another couple years to this degree, but they're in it right now for sure. Who do you see as their biggest threat, and how essential is it to get that for this team and the way they're built? Maybe it's not as important. Maybe it's more important to be healthy. Like how important is getting a terrific regular season record and the best path in the playoff to this group?
I think it's important because, like you said, you can do it. Like, it's there. It's possible, you know. Like, I look around the league, and there's just not a lot of teams that I say, like, oh, boy, they would really have – the Lions would have a hard time with them, like a really hard time with them. You know, Baltimore is a team that I feel like is right up there with Detroit. You know, you always have to put Kansas City in there because of Mahomes. But I don't see a whole lot of other teams that I would be shaking in my shoes if I were Detroit. You know, I really like the division. You know, Green Bay is tough. Minnesota, we just saw, is tough. You got to play them again. I think Chicago will be sneaky tough in these games. They have a lot of talent as well. But really, you know, they have already played some teams that challenge them in unique ways. Tampa was one that was, you know, a tougher one for the way that the Lions play football up the middle like that. And the point being is that they've changed the way they play several times already this season, and it's been almost like at peak efficiency every game but like one. So I feel like you want to make as much hay as you can right now. Like you said, the window is certainly open. I think it's going to be longer than 1 year. And Hutchinson's situation obviously complicates that, but they're good enough right now, and the rest of the league is in a place too where there's just not. You look around and you stack yourself up, and you're like, you're at the top. Like, just you got to go for it. So I think all of it has to be on the table, not just for, you know, set yourself up for as best you can this year, but also like for the team, like win as many as you can. Set a mindset, you know, going forward that this just becomes a habit, you know, something that happens here. I think that this is the time to start doing that.
Jameson Williams, if it's a 2-game suspension, it can't be something all that serious, but it's another thing with him. Is this right? Is this another thing that accumulates and it's a thing, or is this just a blip for a fierce talent that they're invested in?
Yeah, it's going to end up being a blip for a talent they're invested in, but it's certainly not. You know, I don't think it's going to end up being a huge deal, but it's one of those things where it's like personal sort of responsibility, right? Like, I mean, there's enough. Like, I talked with Colton about this today. There's enough. They did not do a great job with the gambling stuff, the NFL, of like educating the players. JMO ended up being kind of like the example for the rest of the league. But in this case, there's enough stuff out there where Jameson and his people could have, you know, if you've got be it a prescription issue or a, you know, supplement you're taking, they have gone over this ad nauseum for years now. There's no more excuse for, oh, I didn't know, you know, any of that stuff. So, you know, that's just one of those that goes up to like you got to grow up. And maybe you got to do a better job of, you know, getting people around you that can give you better advice a little bit, too, to make sure that you're staying on top of some of that stuff. And that, to me, is what still seems to be maybe the issue with him. It's not the work ethic or anything else. He's there. You can see the improvement. It's just like he just still runs his life like a 23-year-old, and sometimes that's a problem.
I mean, I think about that sometimes with guys like him. Like, I remember running my life like a 23-year-old, really at like 32 still. So, you know, it was, you know, there was, it's hard to throw stones a little bit. But, Nick, you're a beautiful man. I really appreciate the insight and your time tonight, man.
Likewise, Graham. Thanks so much.
We'll talk soon. That is the great Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic. You can read his work there. He does. He says I cover football, and he does really, really well. Anything that stood out from you from that conversation?
I just don't. Why do we keep saying that the two?
Sorry.
Finally,
the
Charger dropped. Yeah. I just don't know why we're treating just because it's 2 games, it's not a big deal. Because it's not 4 or 6, obviously. But I mean,
well, because it wasn't like he wasn't like putting horse tranquilizers in his ass.
But still, even if you're taking someone else's Adderall, you know, like it's like with my sister. She was job hunting, and she's like, I got to stop smoking weed because they have drug testing. Like, and she's not 23, but she's also not 40. Like, you have these things in your brain that you just know. Oh yeah, if I do this, I am risking things, and that's what he's doing. Like, because I don't think he's that stupid. Just because you're 23, you have money around you, so you have people that should be around you telling you to do the right things. I don't know how long. I just don't want to be, you know, strapped to this guy because he's fast. I mean, we've waited so long for JMO to do things, and now that he's doing, you know, I don't want to keep getting suspended and all this stuff.
His response to Jared Goff was reassuring, I thought, the level he trusts him.
Well, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you trust him? And the guy's putting up historic numbers. I mean, he's in the past 4 games. I'm not worried about it. I was more interested in hearing his take about the Michigan State game because that spread when it came out. It was just kind of shocking. And I know I always respect Vegas, but I just think that they were way off on this. And kind of hearing Nick say some stuff like that, I'm kind of reassured to even drop some money on the games.
And how quickly that line fell tells you Vegas knew. Because Vegas will take some money and move a line a little bit, but they moved that line a full 3 points already this week. And that tells you a lot.
Like
you
I
don't
said,
see that.
And you listen to people like who you respect, and they haven't talked about certain things about that line, so that Vegas might have misstepped a little bit on this, but because it just seemed too heavy. If you're trying to get money from Michigan fan, I just don't know if that would be the way to go about it. But
that said, anytime something seems obvious, it rarely is, right? It's the thing. It's the thing you don't see. I don't know. This line is off. I'm telling you, if you bet Michigan State and lose +4. You pick the right side. There's value in that, and it could happen. But because anything, look, you could have a really close game and there's a pick six or there's a touchdown, whatever. Things happen.
Could go either way.
We appreciate you listening as always. We appreciate Nick and Harry. Thanks to Front 43 and Cask and Company. I'm telling you right now, it is a great place to plan your weekend around. To take guests, people from out of town. You just want to watch football, date night, whatever it might be. The menu's fantastic. The beer selection's fantastic. 2 separate vibes. I'm telling you, caskandcompany.com. We appreciate Pure Options. Go to pureoptions.com. Location nearest you. You can find it there. You'll love it. You'll notice the difference right away. We'll be back Friday with Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.